And now, Rob on the Road, exploring Northern California.
Hi there, I'm Rob Stewart, and welcome to Rob at Home. It's great to see you. This entire episode is about the message, you are not alone. We're here for you, we see you, and we are in this together. Later in the program, Faith Whitmore joins us with an incredibly important message for people who feel they may be in harm's way during this time. My first guest has spent her entire life singing about hope for other people, many times in tough places, and recently she has needed that hope herself. Singer Sandi Patty is sharing her road to recovery with us after being diagnosed with coronavirus. Sandi and Tom Hanks were two of the first celebrities to come forward and share their diagnosis with the world. Sandi Patty is a Music Hall of Fame inductee with 5 Grammy Awards, sales of more than 12 million units, and in her 35-year career has performed for presidents and packed arenas coast to coast, with several best-selling books to her credit. But right now, Sandi is here to share love, hope, and strength with you. Joining us now is someone whose entire life and career has been about inspiration and wisdom. And today she is sharing both. Sandi Patty, good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. You're looking well. We're feeling well. So let's talk about, this is a crazy time right now.
It is a crazy time right now. And I have to start with saying, it is so nice to see how healthy and fantastic you are. You were quite sick a couple of weeks ago.
So yesterday I was tested for COVID-19, and today I got a call from the Oklahoma Health Department, and I have confirmed, yes, I have COVID-19. And we have thunder going on outside, so it's just all kinds of things. This is not fake news. This is real. This is everything that they say that it is. And we just got to take it seriously. Back in the day, 4 weeks ago, I was one of the first in Oklahoma to be tested positive. I had been traveling and just not feeling great. And, and you just think, it's the seasonal flu, it'll pass. And then I just kept not feeling great. Don finally said, we need to call a doctor. We did. He said, go to the emergency room because they didn't have a lot of tests then. So we went to one of the emergency rooms here, and they were so careful and caring, and they had a great protocol. And after ruling out other things, then they said I was positive for COVID-19 because there were not a lot of tests. They just said, Dawn, we're going to assume you have it as well because you have the same symptoms. And that was, I guess just 4 short weeks ago. It seems like we have lived a lot of life in these 4 weeks.
A lot of life, and a lot of having to really be intentional with our actions and our feelings. So you and Dawn both have been through this journey together. And I must say, I heard your voice, your speaking and your coughing when you were sick. And yeah. It was very severe. And I can't stress enough how severely concerned I was for your lungs. Were you scared?
As a singer, I was scared. Not for my life, but I was scared because I was coughing so hard. That is the worst thing that you can do as a singer is to cough that much. And then the cough, I just felt this heaviness, like, just right there in my sternum, like someone was just pushing hard. And it was hard to get a deep breath. And when I get a deep breath, then I just cough and cough and cough. And and you just felt bad, and the the fever, all of those body aches. This is not the time in our country to minimize our symptoms. This is the time to say, yeah, I have a little bit of pain, because it is a big deal. It is a big, big deal.
I have to say, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm almost certain that you were one of the first celebrities to come forward and not only say, this is what I'm going through, but to talk openly and transparent about it. And I felt so, as a human, reassured that you were sharing your story. Did you have to think twice about that?
Don and I felt very strongly that we wanted to put a real face to this and say, this is no respecter of persons at all. And if we all do the best thing, the right thing, the wise thing, it is going to help someone else, or conversely, it's going to hurt someone else. So we didn't want to pass it on to anyone, and we don't want to get it again. So we want to just be wise in all of those decisions now going forward.
And I think that when we share our stories, we help other people more than we can ever imagine, and it's universal.
Absolutely.
So with that said, I do want to ask you, what would you say to people? I'm a fear-based thinker. Everything was rooted in fear.
Me too.
And it really is something that you have to work through on for me, a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
How would you talk to someone right now who is going to see this, who is struggling?
I would first of all say, and this is the biggest reason that over the years I've tried to share real life stuff, is I think the first thing is just to know you're not alone. That you are not by yourself. There are other people. It doesn't minimize what you're going through, but it should bring a certain amount of comfort that, oh, I'm not the only one. Phew, I'm so glad to know that. So we can take the opportunity to learn from someone who's gone before us, and then use our story to encourage someone who's coming after us. So that's the first thing that I would say, is know that you are not alone. And I guess the second thing that I would say, having been diagnosed and confirmed positive, is that this thing is very, very real. It's not something that is being made up or being, blown out of proportion. It is very real, and it is surprising how quickly, from feeling healthy 2 days prior to really just being flat on my face. So it is something that is very real. I also think that we must, those of us with faith, that is huge right now. But I also think with faith, we have to practice wisdom. We have a very dear friend.
That's good.
Who is, in our small group at church. She's one of the ER doctors at one of the big hospitals here in Oklahoma City. She has been on the front lines, and she has said to us over and over and over again, I'm glad that some of you are feeling so good, but it is still important to stay home. It is still important to shelter in place. It is still important to wear a mask when you're outside, because what you're doing is you are inadvertently protecting the medical community that we must have on the front lines. And so now that I'm feeling better, I'm thinking, oh, I want to get out and I want to do this and I just want to drive through Sonic and I want to, no. Because if I do that, that could put my friend who's on the front lines at risk. So it's changed my perspective, and I hope that for those reasons, we can still practice wisdom and do what everyone says are the wise things to do in this time.
And there are a lot of people who are losing people right now.
They are, I know.
And they too have to be alone.
Yes.
And so all of this boils down to how we love in the meantime.
That's right. Very well said. One of the best definitions I've ever heard, love means fighting for the highest good in someone else.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that good? And so right now, that is going to look different than in other seasons that we have had. And fighting for the highest good for my neighbors, whether it be my literal neighbors or my neighbors in the world, means I'm going to have to make different choices to fight for the highest good in them.
What are you learning during this period? And what do you want to be able to look back on this period as having been for you?
One of the things that I am learning is that tests of society, difficult times don't test us, it tests our character, it reveals our character.
We get healed by our bruises in life, and then we can help others heal theirs just by revealing our scars.
Exactly. Very well said, Rob. That's the importance of story right there, what you just said.
And that is universally human. Sandi, it is so great to see you. I know that you have concerts coming up later this year, depending on how things go with our stay in place. But I can't wait to see you performing. And I know you're happy and healthy. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you, Rob. Every time you and I get a chance to talk, it just means a lot to me too. So blessings on you too, my friend.
And now a call for hope for people who could be facing domestic violence right now. Joining me now is CEO of the Sacramento Regional Family Justice Center, Faith Whitmore. Faith, good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me on, Rob.
Absolutely. The message is important that you are sending out, and that is that while we are sheltering in place and staying in place, where we should be safe, some are seeing increased danger with domestic violence.
Correct. It's so hard under any circumstances, but right now when people are sheltering in place with their abuser, it's all the more difficult.
Let's just start with the basics. Are you open?
We are open. We are open. We are considered an essential service. And so we're following all the protocols that allow us to stay open. We are doing the social distancing, wearing masks at work. We are disinfecting everything. We are putting signs outside saying, if you're sick, let us know. We are doing some of the restraining orders over the phone if people can't come in. So we're doing everything we can so that we can stay open for these victims.
Are you seeing an increase in calls in the Sacramento region, and how much?
You know, Rob, it's hard to say. We are seeing an increase, but I think what's even more significant is that those who are coming in, their danger levels are much higher. We have a lethality assessment that we use to help us understand and to help the victims understand the level of danger that they're in. So the victims that we're seeing come in right now really are at very high risk. And yes, the numbers have increased. I think it will take a while for us to get statistics, but they have increased. I think it was close to a 30% increase this past March over the previous year. So
that's high. That's a big increase. Yeah. Let me ask you this. You're probably, I would imagine, seeing a completely different set of callers because there may be people who are dealing with domestic violence for the first time because of the in-home confinement. Is that accurate?
I think that's probably accurate, Rob. I think that is. And one of the things that we're dealing with in this crisis too is that making phone calls to a center like ours or any of the other wonderful ones that are out there, if the abuser's in the home, it's more difficult to use the phone if they can be heard.
People have to get creative about reaching you. Maybe if someone sees a neighbor, they can communicate to them, in an emergent way.
Exactly. In our safety plan for sheltering in place, one of the things we advise is to get a code word, to teach it to the children. If there are children in the house, if you're on a phone with a relative or somebody who is the abuser may not suspect is a call for help, to create a code word so that if that word is used, somebody else knows to call 911, to call for law enforcement backup.
Let's go to the phone number. Where can people call, Faith, if they're having a crisis?
I'll suggest a number of phone calls. Our phone number at the Sacramento Regional Family Justice Center, we're open from 8:30 to 5.
And we will list all of this for you, by the way.
Okay,
We'll
great.
list all of it. Yeah.
So our number is 916-875-HOPE, HOPE, 916-875-HOPE. There is also the national hotline, domestic violence hotline number, and we'll get that to you as well, but that's 1-800-799-7233. Because of what I just said, they also have a text option, and the word is love is, LOVEIS. The number to text is 22522.
That's a good one.
It is. So that way people can text back and forth if they're in another room, hopefully with their phone.
And as people text, do you recommend them deleting the text?
Absolutely, delete the text.
Okay, so the hotline will still have the number, of course, because they'll have the text.
Right.
Just talking about the risk assessment test.
So it's a lethality assessment. Dr. Jackie Campbell created this a good number of years ago. It's a questionnaire of 20 questions that we ask the victims to respond to. Questions such as, obvious ones, are there guns in the house, or is alcohol an issue? Has he ever tried to strangle you? But some of the more interesting ones that people don't think of, do you have children who are not his? And that is a big factor. So the list of 20 questions, what it does when people look at this is have their eyes open, like you just said, that people normalize the behavior in order to survive in an abusive situation. So they say, oh, it's not that bad, or yeah, there's a gun, but it's, I haven't seen him pick it up in a while, or whatever. But when they put these 20 questions together and they see that perhaps they've scored 15 out of the 20 or 17 out of the 20, then they're at very high risk. And that is an eye opener. And what we say to them is, good for you. You've learned how to survive. But this indicates that you're in greater danger than even you know. And so we need to make a plan to help you exit that situation.
There are many options that the Family Justice Center provides victims when they call in for help, be it removing the offender or putting the victim somewhere safe. I know that you also respond to hospitals when a victim is in the hospital, and you do assessments right then. But right now, with the situation with our hospitals, what are you doing?
Right. It's, in the best of times, all this is difficult, and this is one of the worst of times. So what we have done is to create a shelter-in-place safety plan. And let me go through that a little bit because it is difficult to get out if you're in a situation with an abuser. So what we suggest, first of all, is practice getting out. Look at where the windows that you might be able to open, the doors, stay close to the doors if the situation starts to escalate. So practice with you and your children if you have children at home. Again, connect with family and friends. Let them know in any possible way that you may need help. So if somebody is calling to check in, a sister is just having a conversation or whatever, just make sure that there's some way that those people in your circle can know that you are in danger or that you're afraid of being in a situation that will escalate. Create those code words, talk to the children, do those kinds of things. The other thing is to be prepared, and we tell this to everybody at any time, but be prepared to leave. If you have an opportunity to stash away some money, do that. But put your keys, your purse, your passport, your birth certificate for your kids, any important papers, put those in a place that you can grab and go, because those will be very helpful as you continue to seek services. And then trust your instincts. But what we want people to know, if they're in a very dangerous situation, we want to help them get out and be safe. And I want to say that our law enforcement partners are being excellent about this. So I want to give the shout out to them from all the different law enforcement agencies in our region. They're being very, very helpful. So people can still call 911. The law enforcement will come. Hopefully they will give that person what we call emergency protective order, an EPO, until they can get to the center and get a permanent restraining order.
I see. Faith, your name is Faith. And I would be remiss if I did not bring that up, because you are also a Methodist minister, and you have been for quite a while.
Correct, yeah.
How long?
How long? Since 1984.
Okay, that's fantastic. So that's a lot of work in dealing with people who have needed help.
Right.
What would you recommend and say to someone right now who is searching for hope and feels hopeless?
Well, we try and instill hope over fear. That even in the most dire circumstances, there are people who are wanting and waiting to be helpful. That this situation, with all of the proper steps that we can help people go through, there's hope on the other side of this. This does not have to be a permanent situation. And Rob, I think that in all this pandemic that we're experiencing right now, and as horrific as it is, what we're seeing is the beauty of compassion and generosity being unleashed. I think every person has a sense of what feeds them, and sometimes just quiet music, walks, deep prayer in whatever practice that may be, whatever faith tradition that might be, but to just really allow time and space to be filled back up, because this is so hard. And if we just concentrate on all that's going on and the fear and what we're hearing about, how bad this could get or how long this could last, that's not really that helpful right now for almost any of us. And so I think the hope comes in looking for the good that comes out of the horror. People are finding out what they need and what they don't need in terms of daily life. The simplicity has come back to many of our lives as we shelter in place or stay in place. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I want to speak to the children too, because I don't think that's something that we often think of in terms of domestic violence, but I say the kids are the collateral damage here. If they see this kind of violence in the home, their struggle is oftentimes lifelong struggle. We want to protect these kids. We want to give them the happy childhoods that they deserve. We don't want, teenagers to have to be breaking up fights between their parents or partners. So we have a huge soft place in our hearts for the children as a part of all of this.
Massive incidents like this cause definitely generational grief.
Absolutely.
And that is something that can be prevented. Faith, thank you so much. You always offer so much wisdom and so much insight. And also, one other thing I wanted to plug is that if there is someone who is in a situation where they cannot get a message to someone, but if they're out running an errand, there are officers of all types everywhere right now. Security, undercover, and in police and security uniforms. You could walk into someone and shout walk into somewhere and shout that you were in the middle of a domestic violence crisis, and you would be rallied around.
Yes. And another thing about have a note written in your purse, so that if the abuser, the partner, whoever it may be, goes into the store with you, which is oftentimes a very controlling behavior that we see over and over again, the victim is not left alone. But have a note that you can drop, that you can slip to somebody saying, "I'm in trouble, call for help, please."
Or put it in the window of a car
Mm-hmm.
if you're stuck in the car with the person in a way that can't be seen.
Right.
Okay. Faith, it's good to see you. Go ahead.
I just want to thank you so much for caring so deeply about this situation, for helping us get the word out. I so appreciate you and our community and the love and the compassion that you bring. So thank you so much for that.
We're only able to do it because you're here doing it. and you're the one doing all of the work. So what is your closing message? What is it you want when people turn this off, click away to the next thing? What is it that you want them to have remembered about Faith Whitmore and the Sacramento Regional Family Justice Center?
I want people to know there's hope. I want people to know there's help, and we're there for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
And if you would like more information on what you've just seen or upcoming programs and interviews, check us out on our Facebook page on Rob on the Road. We'll see you next time right here on Rob at Home.